What is up, Facebook world? This is Kimberly and Connor Tracy over here at Big Red SEO, coming in live this Friday in August. It is the last Friday of August.
Something like that.
Time just keeps on going by so quick and so fast. We hope you guys are having a great day over in your world. We are over here in Omaha, Nebraska. If you happen to tune in, go ahead and tell us where you're coming in live. We know that we've got fans and followers all through the U.S. as well as international, especially from Connor's hometown, Ireland. People pop in, they've got businesses, they're rocking and they're rolling, and Connor's going to do lights and action. Not that I need to be any brighter at any point in time.
There we go. It's nice and bright now.
So, hey, the thing that comes up all the time, especially since we've been running this gig for over 9 years, is a lot of people are stepping forward and launching those businesses and doing the things that they've always kind of wanted to do. So we thought, gosh, like what kind of video would add the most impact and value? And whether you're currently launching, you're getting ready to launch, and or you've already been established and you're like, I'm just brand new to SEO, we kind of created a small little checklist that we're going to roll through today to kind of walk you through this. If you've been following us for quite some time, you know that we always say there is no magic behind SEO. SEO in reality, while Google does change things, they change really. It's about cause and effect because so many people are trying to break the rules and cheat the system. Not to say that Google's not a great search engine in keeping updated and keeping the information up to date. They're always going the next level for that, especially for small, medium, and large businesses. Mm-hmm. However, a lot of the changes that happen in optimization come from somebody trying to break the rules or cheat the system. The basics of SEO have always been the same. We just know that this is our industry, and so we knock it out. So if you're cool with it, are you ready to get started with their list?
Sure. I guess I'll rejoin the conversation.
I know, right? Well,
here's the thing. I mean, the first minute or so, I'm checked out getting everything else.
No, it's good. I think we got everything. If you're tuned in live, you can hear us. Just let us know you can hear us.
I can hear me.
Connor has some cool stuff. He can hear me. I'm pretty boisterous, right? Yeah. Loud. Okay, so if you're getting ready to launch a business, the very first thing, and we've talked about this in previous episodes, the very first thing that you need to do is get your company legalized. There's a lot of people that have kind of gone around the system and they don't establish an LLC or an S Corp, and we're not going to get into the logistics of what could go wrong or what could not go wrong, but what I can tell you is that whenever you actually establish a legal name for your business, you kind of step in and you take it a little bit more serious.
Just a little bit.
In addition to that, you also want to have your information to where you can actually put it onto Google. And if for whatever reason they come back and say, hey, we need you to validate that you're actually the company that you're saying you are, you have those legal documents and representations to be able to say, yes, I crossed all my T's and I dotted all my I's.
There are some of the legal end of things. And again, we're not lawyers. We're not accountants.
Yeah.
So consult your own.
Get your legal team.
There's my disclaimer. But there are some liability issues when it comes to just setting up a DBA versus setting up corporations. Now, there are fees and stuff like that, and you have to file taxes completely different, and there's any number of other things as to why you should not do it. But there are benefits to doing it.
Yeah.
So, and one of the big things is the liability.
Yeah. And so the other part too is that if you do register your business, right? Like, prospects actually take you a little bit more serious. We've actually seen that happen. And since we mentor and coach small businesses to kind of like get the confidence, especially when they first start, it's kind of interesting when they actually legalize the business themselves, they take the business more serious. It's not a side gig or a side hobby anymore. And instead it's actually a legal company.
My favorite word that I love to hate, the side hustle.
Yeah. But okay, so the next step, so after you
get we're moving past that.
So after you get your company registered, the next step is to determine what do you want your company domain name to be. A lot of times it's ideal if your company name is inside the URL domain. There's multiple videos that Connor's created about exact match domains based on industries. You can go and tuck those. You can find that information. However, you want to make sure that whatever domain name you register makes sense from the end user perspective, as well as what your industry and your company is.
Yeah.
Domain registrations, they range in pricing. You can get it anywhere between $12. I think you can actually go higher depending on where you get it. We're not going to tell you where to go. But one of the largest search engines is a great place to start. We don't get paid by that. But sometimes it's easy to keep everything nestled in. So after you do the domain name, your next step is you need to create a website. So like, we would be honored to be able to earn your business. However, we know that some people just kind of get that bug where they want to create it themselves. Our area and recommendation is just see if you can steer away from site builders. Some site builders say they're SEO friendly. If you've watched us before, a lot of them are not. We actually just ran into an issue the other day where it's just totally not indexed at all, and somebody's throwing cash towards an SEO for a different company, and it's just not working, right?
Right. And from site builders, there's different site builders.
Yeah.
So there's different categorizations.
I'm not going to say the name.
Yeah, there's some big online ones that you've seen the commercials for on TV, and they run their own stuff.
They have race cars.
Then you've got
I think they do.
ones that are run by web hosting companies, and they have their own site builders.
Yeah.
And Adobe has their own stuff too. Just be aware that they're not all created equal, and they do have some issues behind them.
Yep.
On the flip side of things, there are other site builders like Beaver Builder, Elementor, Themeler. Who else was on there? Toaster, I think, is on there too.
He totally just went to all the names. He saw that I was distracted, and he's rattling them off as fast as he can.
So anyway, those are website builders or page builders within a website, whether you're using Drupal or WordPress or other systems. So when Kim is talking about be careful using different site builders, it's mainly ones where you pay a company, you're locked in with them, and then you can't get out. And you really can't get out unless you just start over. So.
And that's the thing, like, it's just a matter. So here's the reason why we're saying it to you guys. One, we love WordPress. That's what we build. That's what we manage. So if you need help with that, we are the people to come for. The other part of it is we've had a lot of people that maybe have gotten into bed with site builders and they just didn't know, and then all of a sudden they invested the money, and whenever they wanted to change directions, they were stuck because they couldn't take the design. So we're not just talking about this stuff to just fluff air to you guys. There's multiple companies that have just been like, gosh, if I knew this whenever I was way back when. So that's where a lot of our content and a lot of material for our videos come from, right? Is those situations.
And with all that said, if you're building just a brochure website, a one-page thing, I just need something on there to say I exist, use one of them. But just be aware that in a few months, you need to shift gears and start getting serious about marketing. If you're doing online marketing. If you're doing offline, TV, radio, billboards, magazines, telling friends, that kind of thing, and you're not worried about online, those other builders are just fine.
Right. Yep. So, okay. Anyway, so we've got register your business, right? We've got register your domain. We've got make a website, have a website created, hire us. We're awesome, right? That's our disclaimer. After you create the website design, and or this might actually need to happen before, depending on what platform you decide to go with, you do need to establish web hosting. Here's the deal, and this comes from Conor being in the industry for over 18 years before he sold his company. Web hosting services are becoming more important in the SEO process than ever before because it comes down to speed. So a little tidbit, if you're not familiar with web hosting, is that a lot of times web hosting companies will put multiple businesses on one server. And sometimes if your website is really, really huge, image-wise, so forth, and or any of the other companies are, there's a chance your website can actually go offline.
Yep.
I'll let you go ahead and take that and roll with it a little more.
Sure. Yeah. So on our website, there is a link. So if you go to Big Red SEO, and then at the top, there's a link up there for other services. And in there, we've got recommended hosts.
Yeah.
So these are people that we use ourselves. We can't recommend something if we don't actually use it. And these are ones
Although we get emails all the time, people trying to get us to.
And people wanting to get moved up higher on the list, but it is what it is. So, the speed of websites, as you said, is a huge factor.
Huge.
What somebody else does on a machine can directly affect you. So if you think of things like an apartment complex, Most times, not an issue.
Yeah.
Somebody decides to throw a graduation party and they have 200 visitors come and they're all coming through that one door and you're trying to get in with groceries. Doesn't really work too well. Now, it was a fluke that happened on that one day, but maybe it's happening a couple of times a month, big birthday parties and so forth. So when that starts to happen, you've got choices. You either put up with it and it's going to be slow,
right,
or you move.
Yeah.
And generally it's moving the web host.
Yeah.
So speed is a ranking factor from Google. Different web hosts out there. cPanel is a popular control panel.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of hosting companies that use it. There's an awful lot that are actually moving away from it. Tonight, there's a video that I'm putting up onto YouTube. So if you go to youtube.com/Big Red SEO.
Where's the thing? Like, it's not on the screen. Where's the YouTube thing?
Well, it's in the rotation.
There you go.
now.
It's in the rotation,
anyway,
guys. It's down there.
Go to our YouTube page. I've got a walkthrough of a control panel. So SiteGround, which is one of the places we use, they have just updated their entire system.
Yeah.
They're moving away from cPanel. They've built their own system. So I'm doing a walkthrough on there, and then further details within that. But go check that out. That's mainly it from hosting. It ranges in price from $2 to $35 a month.
So here's the thing, guys. We face this all the time with prospects as well as clients that we eventually onboard. Like, they'll be like, I don't want to pay that much for web hosting. Mm-hmm. So here's the deal. I will say, like, you could go the cheap route for web hosting, and depending on what your website's utilized for. So like Connor used the example before, maybe you just need a one-page brochure, right? Mm-hmm. The cheaper web hosting might be ideal for you. However, do not be afraid to invest in web hosting. I'm not going to tell you the dollar amount that you should go for, but speed is required on web hosting. It is more important, guys, than ever before. And all the hands that we've had are hands in on website designs. Like, whenever we see them go with specific web hosting companies, even if we do our job to the T design-wise and optimize all images and optimize all stuff, sometimes what happens is the site still loads slow, and it's like not only affecting the search engines, it's also affecting the end users in the ordering process. Yep. So with that all being said, figure out who you want as a web hosting company. If you need help, we have tons of experience with that. We don't manage by any means, but we can lead you down the path of the right way. So after you do your web hosting, now you have started your design, or hopefully you've got it in process. Now it's important for you to actually create customized photos and images for your business. Stock photos work to a certain extent. Like, we actually use stock photos in quite a lot. There's different interviews of people that say, don't use stock, it's less whatever. We get it, but when you launch a company, sometimes stock is where it's got to be, right? Mm-hmm.
They're professional images that are taken, and you can buy them for cheap. I'll say exactly what it is. Yeah, like, you can pick up the rights to use an image for $1 or $2 rather than hiring a professional photographer, which is going to run you, $100, $150 an hour. Yeah. Now, your own images have or tell a better message than a stock image. Yes. Usually. If the right photographer can get your message out there. Now, there's other ones that are not so great, and we'll just skip right past that.
Yeah, we'll skip right past that. So here's the other thing about stock images, though. You'll notice even on social media, you'll see an image and then multiple companies have that same image. So the thing about stock images is you could have the same image as multiple other people. There's ways to go into stock image still and be able to edit it and make it yours, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, we always recommend that you have custom images yourself. So if you could put pictures of yourself on your Facebook, pictures of your team, you doing the processes, the scenarios, the situations, helping clients, those guys are going to make a bigger impact than just stock images. There's a lot of industries that just want to stick with stock, and we get it. But you can kind of customize the images in the back end for SEO processes a little bit more when they're your own photos.
Yeah. And, we're talking about the marketability of the business at that point. Mm-hmm. From Google's end, you're going to be uploading images onto Google My Business, and Kim will get to that here in just a second. But if you as a person can recognize that it's a staged photo or a stock photo and so forth, the search engines can too. Yep. They are giving more weight to your own personal images, your images that you've taken yourself or had taken or whatnot. So there is a weight factor on there. Now, is it, going to massively outweigh somebody else? No, not currently, But could it in the future?
I don't know.
It's
Like
Google.
we've had some cool testing in the background. We can't say it does, but we can't say it doesn't at the same time, right? So the other thing too is whenever you create your own images, you want to make sure that you call your images whatever the image is, right? So a lot of times people will do image 12749. That's not going to help the search engines. That's not going to help anybody. And a lot of times people just want to get it in the website quick and dirty. We get it. We understand it. But it's your face in the picture, you need to put that it's your face and your company name and what you're doing, if that makes sense. This actually helps the hard of sight individuals that have vision issues. However, it also helps the search engines because, believe it or not, search engines can't read images, guys.
And Google has confirmed that they use the alt text or the alternate text. They use that as being the anchor text for what you're linking to. So if you link an image from one page to another, they're using that to help figure out what your website or what the next page is going to be about. So if you're selling glassware, your image on there and your titles on there should be, best glassware to purchase online or whatever phrase you want to use. But as you said, don't just make it a string of numbers and, or logo old, logo new.
Logo, whatever. Okay, so here's the deal is once you get the images, just kind of backtrack just a little bit because we are talking about the first 30 days of you launching or pre-launching, right? So the thought process is you really need to get your brain into the marketing and the vision side. And what I mean by this is as you go through your everyday process, start snapping pictures. So whether you're on site and you ask a client, can I take a picture with you? Or you're taking a picture of something that you're doing, or you're taking a picture of something in the industry, make sure that you actually take as many images as you can. You may not use them all, but you could actually use them in your website, in your social media. You can use them in videos. You can use them in all different ways. What we see happen is a lot of people just get into the trenches, especially in launching, and they forget to take images. And then all of a sudden they're like, well, I don't have anything to take. I don't have anything new coming down the pipeline. So if you could just kind of create it in your everyday process, if that makes sense. And then you just have extra images that you may never use, but you might wind up using anyway. Make sense? And
do the process. We have a client that works on driveways and they replace the entire thing. And invariably they say, here's the finished product image. Well, show me the before, show me the middle of it, and show me the end. Because that's what the client wants to see, what that journey
every
is.
Time.
So if you have something that you can provide the process without giving away your secret sauce, go ahead and provide those images.
So. Absolutely. Okay, so now the big thing, which Conor touched base on just a minute ago, was you need to register your Google My Business listing. You can actually get an account through Google. This is actually free and it's offered to every single company out there. You can choose to put your address. If you have a storefront or a business, definitely do that. If you have a home, we've said this in multiple videos before, you can go through different episodes. We recommend not putting the home address because more likely you're going to get a doorbell ring.
Actually, part of Google's policy is that if you do not, if clients are not coming to that particular location, your address should be hidden. So it's perfectly fine to use your address when you're getting verified. And that's one of the steps that you have to do is get verified in your Google business listing. But once, as you're setting that up, there's an option there to hide your address from the public. And if you're a service area business or you're working out of your house or you don't want people to show to your location, hide that address. So
when you create this Google My Business, there's going to be multiple things. And I think it was 2 weeks ago. So 2 episodes ago, Conor will have you find the episode specifically and put it in the link.
Episode 67.
We actually went through the Google My Business, what you need to do and ways that you can kind of get ahead of your industry based on filling the stuff out, right? But when you actually create your account, this is the perfect time to fill it out to the max. So like a lot of times what happens is we see people, they're like, oh, I'll start the process and then I stop the process, then I'll start the process. If you can, just block out 30 to 35 minutes of your time and do everything at one time when Google's actually going through to verify you. And the reason for this is one, it'll be done. 2, they'll be able to start the process and get the postcard to you, right? To verify your address and your location. But 3, this is the perfect time where you can go in and edit everything, and it's not going to red flag Google to say you're updating too much information. Yep. So the things that you would want to do is make sure that you add the images that you now brand new have, right? You want to make sure you put your company URL for your website inside there. You also want to make sure you put your company description, but you want the company description to be different than what's actually on your website. So it's all about unique content, guys. You just got to find another way to say it. If you have a specific service that you're looking to grow out of like 5 services you offer, make that the primary service, if that makes sense. In addition to that, you want to make sure you put your hours. So here's our golden rule with hours. If you offer 24/7 services, that's awesome. You can put that in the company description and let people know. But at no point in your office hours should you put 24/7 if you're not going to be answering the phone 24/7. It's really important that the hours of the business is actually when the business is open and when people can actually call in and get information from the business. We're not going to say that Google has people testing this stuff, but what I will tell you is they're really looking at it, and a lot of people were putting 24/7, and then they would send one of the drivers, and yes, there are cars that actually check your locations. They would send the drivers out and find out that they were closed, nobody was there, they couldn't walk in the door. It is legit, and it is happening, so just cross your T's, dot your I's.
Yeah, one of the things, when you're doing business locations, they do actually send people out to take pictures of locations.
They do. There's actually, and there's a car, there's a picture we took one time. I caught the person. The guy was like, just don't. I was like, can I take a picture of your car? He said, yeah, just don't catch my face. So they're actually like incognito. Like they cannot, you can't put them. Yeah. You can't put them on social media and say who they are, right? They're really serious about it. Like security, black uniform, serious. Don't take my picture. Okay, so the thing is once you get all that information into your Google My Business, cool. Now you send it off and Google verifies you. They're going to send you a postcard that you enter into the code, and then you're up and you're running, right? It doesn't stop there though. And again, there's a different episode where we break down different stuff where you can take advantage of it. Take advantage of this free account, but you want to create this account, especially in your first 30 days, and give it some love and attention, right? There's like Google posts that you can do, and there's different information, and continue adding images. If you're a seasonal based business, you need to swap your images out based on the seasons. End users pay attention to this. They realize that you're not a set it and forget it. And then also the search engines also pay attention. And a really quick hack for that account is every time a holiday comes, go in and update your holiday hours. Because all of a sudden the search engines are like, oh, again, a business owner that's not setting and forgetting it. Right. They want to ensure that people know that the businesses are closed and or if they're open on the holidays.
And you can preset that up ahead of time. So you can do that a month, 2 months, 3 months ahead.
Yep.
Schedule everything out. I believe you can do the entire year, but
yeah, and I'll just tell you from an end user perspective from us, like if you have a restaurant or you have a bar or you have something of a service and you close on a holiday, please, for the love of cheese, put your hours in there, because it'll say on Google will put a note to say hours might be affected by the holiday. But if they actually updated their hours, it literally says open or close and it tells you the hours.
That would make our life a lot easier.
It would make it a lot easier, right? I'm telling you guys, this is from experience from us.
And from that end of things, if you are running a restaurant end of things, or you have a menu, or the ability to have a menu, please upload the menu online. It will actually help not just the end user to find out what you have on the list, but it's going to help the search engines. You know, if you're known for burgers and you can list out the number of different burgers, then awesome, do that. Yeah. Again, here we go. Rant time. Connor's rant. I have to have one every day, or at least on video anyway. I have it every day.
Every day.
Yeah, I do. Okay.
He has multiples every day, but I do. He ranks them. What gets first place?
So the other day, earlier this week, we were actually going looking for food. Found a burger place and brought everything up. We actually drove to Lincoln, so it's like an hour from here, right? Yeah. So we drove down there, and I'm looking up restaurants as I'm going down. Found an awesome menu or a restaurant. They had great pictures and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll look at the menu, make sure it's got the stuff that Kim wants. Yeah. And everything on the menu was a wine bar. It was nothing but bottles of wine. Which is great. I mean, I could see the range in pricing from $8 a glass to $400 and something a bottle. but they had zero food on the entire menu. They had their entire wine list,
yeah,
but no food.
But they were rated
there.
like they were categorized as a restaurant, not a wine bar. Like not like so they actually said that they had food, but when you went out to find them, they didn't have food.
Couldn't find it.
Like that's
and they didn't.
Luckily Connor was too lazy that day to do a bad review because he normally would say, "Hey, go clean your stuff up. You need to make sure you're categorized right."
Well, I wouldn't do it under the review end of things. That's usually
no. You would just send an email.
I would definitely send an email and say, "Hey, you lost a customer today because of this reason." And hey, I love my food, so I go back to places on a regular basis.
They would probably make him a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, which he doesn't like.
Which I don't like. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the deal: is this is like some of the reasons why it's really important to make sure that you have your information updated, especially within the first 30 days, right? Here's the cool trick: is if you update this and you keep consistent with all these things, guys, you can actually blow the competition out of the water. Or if you like the word peer, you can blow your peers out of the water because a lot of times people just set it and forget it. Like they don't even remember their username and passcode for their Google My Business account, right? Here's an important thing. If you decide to get into an arena with a marketing company, cool, hopefully we're it. But if not, make sure you own the rights to your Google My Business account. Make sure everything from your domain name to your web hosting to the Google My Business to any of your social media platforms, Google make sure Analytics. That you actually own everything. The reason for this is for whatever reason, if you decide to change something or no longer utilize that resource, they can actually own the information and shut it down. And then you lose all the data or you lose all the work that was performed. This is a very common thing that happens in marketing. We're kind of rebels. We love control. So we love to ensure that our end users and business owners own everything under their name. Just because we feel like it's the ethical thing to do. We don't want to shackle somebody in. So whether you're already launched, pre-launched, or you've been in business for a while, get your ducks in a row and make sure you own everything yourself.
And most places offer what's called collaboration, or you can assign a second user. And that's what we ask our clients to do, is assign us to be a user so that we can access things.
Absolutely.
There are some web hosting companies that they don't allow that. And in those cases, the client sets up their own hosting. They provide us the username and password. But if we stop working with them, they're able to get in there and change that username and password, or at least the password anyway. So anyway.
Okay, so also in the first 30 days, guys, and this will happen really, really quick, you want to make sure that you go and you register your official business name in all the social media platforms. So the thought process is you don't have to do all the social media. We actually don't recommend doing all the different avenues all at once. We recommend like narrowing in. However, you want to ensure that you actually own the account yourself for your business name. We have actually seen a couple situations where competition or peers will go out and register a company that just recently launched, and then it's just a big, nasty mess. Cover your bases and just go and register. So it'd be the traditional Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. If you want to do Instagram, Pinterest, you can.
Get them anyway.
Just even go and register them.
Even if you're not going to use it right now, Instagram and Pinterest and YouTube for that matter.
Yeah.
Really any of those. Go ahead and register with them. Keep that username and password somewhere. But it stops somebody else from jumping in. So it literally stops your competition from buying your name and then promoting their own business. Unless you have copyright information and stuff like that, and I've actually gone through the legal process, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
So make sure you register all of those. You don't have to enable them all, but register them all so that no one else can take that.
Yeah, so the next part here, guys, is implementing the basic SEO tasks. So after you've got your website launched, you've got all your content, you started videos, you started images, now is whenever you actually create the basic SEO tasks. So whether it's filling out the title tags, meta description, alt description for your pages, for your images, and so forth, you want to ensure that you do these basic areas. Inside of our blog, we have multiple different articles where we kind of walk that through. We actually perform this service for people, not because they don't know how to do it. Sometimes they don't. We like to teach, so we like kind of explain everything we're doing. However, it comes down to they just don't have time to do it. So they actually outsource it to us and then we perform it. So some of the basic things that you'll want to make sure you keep an eye on is actually getting your business registered for the common directory listings out there. So whether it's for Yext or the chamber or a local company that actually has different businesses that they represent, you want to get that information, your information registered in that. And you want to ensure, guys, that when you do this and you create this account, that everything matches your exact company name, your address, your phone number, and your website. So a lot of times they'll have like data entry, or somebody will enter something in and they won't think it's a big deal to misspell something or make something different. The attention to detail for search engines is really, really, really important. So use your full company name, use your full address, put in your phone number, that's exact same phone number that's on your website, the same URL that's on your website. You want everything to match across the board with the directory listings. Mm-hmm. But that's it, guys. That's kind of what we recommend your first 30 days. If you have any questions regarding the information we've provided, let us know. And the cool part about it is a lot of this stuff that you've already done and you created in your first 30 days, you can replicate into your social media. So if you create content on your website, you can switch it and share it on your social media. If you've created videos, you can share it all across all those different platforms. It's a way to like co-create all your material in the first 30 days. But in your first 30 days, make sure you stay consistent. You do everything from start to finish. As we say, don't half-ass it. Like, get in and do it. Do it completely and fully. But that's it for this Facebook recap. If you found value, feel free to like and share. We will be back next Friday with some more awesome information. Mm-hmm. And in the meantime, have a great weekend, and we wish you the best of luck.
And go check out the YouTube video.
Yeah. Alrighty. See you guys.
All right, guys. Have a great day now. Thank you.